Hey everyone, welcome back to another war recap with Reddit Alchemy. We spun right after CWL and were able to match the guys at WarWhales. The breakdown of this war was not even at all. So we both had 8 Town Hall 11s, but we had, I think, 6 more Town Hall 10s than the guys at WarWhales. So the results of this war don't really matter, but some of the individual attacks are fun to recap, and that's the point of YouTube and what we do here. So here are a few 11v11 hits for you. This is an extremely compact base that just kind of screened for a little bit of the spam Lalo, so to speak. He's able to get in with a golem tanking up some defenses, which the golem was kind of just out of range of that grounded expo, so he didn't get the tanking he was hoping, and ended up, BK ended up getting knocked down really quickly, but he gets the important things, which are he got the CC killed, he got the queen killed, he got an air defense, and he got some helpful pathing for his loons whenever they start coming across this base. So he's got his heavy deployment here of loons. I think he had about, I think it was like 26 was what it was. Anyways, puts most of them down, some minions behind to just start that cleanup and to just cruise on across the base. Plenty of value to rage spells and a clone spell there in the middle that ended up just missing that hound, but cloned a whole bunch of loons there. Some of this trailing pack of loons is able to come across and get down the Inferno Tower they needed to get down. Warden ability saved a lot of those while they were dealing with those Inferno Towers. And so now he still has one more hound to tank this last air defense, and all these loons are just taking their slow path right on around. I'll go ahead and start speeding this up. He's got tons of cleanup. As you had saw early on, he had his minions, and all the pups are just kind of following along behind, and loons are just slowly going from defense to defense. But it's just the layout of the base. It's meant to be an anti-2 base. When you start hitting them with 11v11, these bases don't do so well. And that's the risks all of us are having to start thinking about and start having to weigh when it comes to CWL actual matchups, is how confident we are we're not going to get our 10s cleared, and how likely it is we're going to start getting our 11s tripled with pretty easy attacks. So here's another 11v11 coming in, sniping some mortars with some just right out of the range on those corners with the miners, and is able to also get a little bit of value from a few loons over here. Was hoping to snipe down the air defense, I believe, just missed it, or just to make enough of a path, to make enough of a funnel rather, for his witches and bowlers to come in and just be able to kind of put them down in a wall. So this magical surgical deploy, just kidding. So use all your fingers, spam the troops. So everything comes across, and he made sure with those eliminating those mortars on the corners that he got at least a little bit of funneling. So for the most part, he had enough bowlers path into the core, had enough witches that are coming through, and he had a free spell that got a ton of value, because again, this is one of those very compact bases. And with the rage spell and the bowlers and the witches, getting the skeleton minions, whatever those things are called, the skeletons, getting the skeletons out in front to tank for the bowlers. The bowlers raged up, just put in a whole lot of work. So there's not a whole lot left. And then he had on this one side up here, he ended up with that nice little pack of witches and bowlers coming around, cleaning up all the side on that side. Everything will slowly wrap around and come on down here, and he still has his queen phase, and a nicely pretty full health warden to be buffing these last troops. Queen has to work her way through this wall, but that nice combination of witches and bowlers, nothing really could deal with them until they got to that wizard tower, and by that time the queen had punched through and was able to help out. So those were our two 11v11 hits, and here are a couple good 10v10 hits for you guys. Let me see. Yeah, so another one of those nice efficient funnels that you can do and end up doing a pretty heavy Lalo. He is going to have to put in some value to get the defending AQ here in the middle, because you see there's no skeleton spell, so that's not the plan. Those are, you know, one of the many ways, two of the many ways to deal with a queen with raised up skeleton traps, but he cannot do that with this base, so he's going to have to get in otherwise. I'll be honest, I watched this attack yesterday. This isn't going how I remembered it. So yeah, what's the trigger radius on that queen? Yeah, okay, so yeah, this is a nice, he's going to get in, get an Inferno down. Got the one air defense over here. Queen's going to die to the CC, but he pulled it far enough, it ended up going far enough away that this loon is not going to get any drops on all these ground troops, and he's got a nice rage there, and he got his BK just out in front of his bowlers, and they're hanging back in the rage, and they're able to get down the defending AQ. Once the AQ is down, he's starting his Lalo, and with that push and those bowler bounces, he made some really nice pathing for his loons. His bowlers even get down that Expo, and just really nice pathing there, and a really good way to come at getting that queen that seemed to be locked up in there and really inaccessible. That Expo was just kind of hanging on to life, so he started running out of loons here, but the way he had deployed it, it was just enough. And he's got his cleanup going down here, and at the last minute, he kind of forgot about this hound and forgot to lure it out, so now there's some pups chasing it, and at the last minute here this hound's gonna pop, and this attack came down to the very last second. I think it was about he had, you know, less than a couple tenths of a second left on this attack. When we were watching this live, we were all just, you know, like, oh no, 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 and it all worked out just the last second there. Those pups were able to overcome the defending pups, and was able to get on and get that last tiny bit of cleanup left over. So still a very fine, very thin line there at Town Hall 10, often when you have really nice valuable hits like that, where if you forget to, you know, draw your hound out, you're gonna run out of time or run out of cleanup. This attack does not have that problem. This is a really nice hit here. A really nice bowler bounce here to help make a funnel coming into this base. Is able to get a little bit of a golem walk, a little queen walk kind of thing, you know, with the golem tanking up some stuff to make sure that the queen doesn't get targeted here, and also everything is tanked, and so he's able to get in some wall breakers. So his queen's going to be able to sneak in here and get at a couple more of these air defenses, I believe. So the CC was far enough back that he had enough time to get his kill squad in, and this was a base that did not have the Hound Loon CC, so it just kind of opens up some more options with your kill squad, so you can get more value out of that, and you're not having to wait on your queen to deal with the you know, ridiculous hit points that are on a Lava Hound these days. So he comes in with a nice heavy kill squad and really just carves out a big chunk of this base. Gets his queen in there into the core, and she's going to keep working, and even have this golem still tanking a little bit. With his Lalo coming in on that last defense, last air defense, and then is able to just kind of you know, have a nice even deploy to get all of his loons to just path defense to defense, get them into the Inferno quickly, and then out the backside of that with a heal spell. The golem is coming up also, so the queen is protected no matter what. So she's in there still getting value, putting down some skeletons, and is still there at the last minute. She's takes part in the cleanup, which is very nice. An attack like this, he ends up losing a bunch of loons here at the end to some red mines and a little bit of splash from there, but still had enough, and is able to have a couple loons he was able to hold on to make sure he had the cleanup, gets everything down, has enough cleanup, has the minions also, and so very nice attack there for another Town Hall 10 triple. And then I'll show you one Town Hall 9 hit quickly. Don't blink. This happens quick. So this is one of those metas that is kind of silly, but this is what happens when Supercell will just keep buffing a troop to a point, and it becomes game breaking, depending on the layout of the base. So if you have a base like this with some cored up air defenses, this is just too easy. It's kind of silly, and it's just a whole lot of spam. So every troop is about to be deployed in just a moment here. So here comes King, and then there's just a couple of archers for cleanup, you know. So every troop is already deployed. We're about 30 seconds into the attack. There's a jump spell to get in, and then a jump spell to get into the core, and then 2 rage spells. And there's really, it's really absurd how many troops are left over at the end of this. So, you know, while the skeletons are getting picked off, the stuff in the core is raged up and is wrecking out any of the air defenses so that these healers will stay up in the end, keeping the queen, keeping the witches alive. And so just kind of, it's kind of ridiculous. It's a silly meta that works extremely well on certain bases. And if it wasn't for these 2 giant bombs here at the end, I think I would have, there would have been every bowler would have lived, and a whole lot more witches would have lived also. I think we lost like 2 or 3 there in the core. So yeah, that was, you know, a minute 30 on a 70k base with a very silly spam strat. So thanks Supercell for buffing witches. You know, just keep doing it. You know, maybe you'll break your game soon enough and you'll have to roll back. Anyways, good game to the guys at WarWhales. It was a fun midweek. You know, again, we're not gloating in this. You know, we had a huge advantage. This is just fun. I hope they enjoyed it also. And you know, good game. And you know, we're looking forward to our next CWL matchup this weekend. Hopefully, to have a decent performance, better than we had last week. But definitely looking forward to it. So good game, guys, and great is Alchemy.